Boop. Boop. Yay!
Finally!
Finally, he says.
We're back with Hakuoki Stores of Shinjingumi.
Yeah, which doesn't have a Twitch thing, so I just put in Hakuoki because it is what it is.
I guess.
It is just Hakuoki proper. And, besides the cat adventure, we finished Hijikata.
Yeah.
So now we're starting Harada's. Whee! Yes.
Yes.
Would you like to skip the prologue? Yes. I don't think we should do the prologue ever again.
No. I mean, we could just pull a Yamazaki and do it for the last one.
We don't even know who the last one is this time. It could be anybody.
Yeah. $160 years ago.
Oh my god, you're right. Jesus. Mm-hmm. Was it morning? What had happened to me? Ah, yes. Right. All at once, the events of the previous night rushed back. If only this was my room, I thought. They had tied me up quite well, so all I could do was wiggle around in the bed, twisting the blankets around me. I wished, pointlessly, I knew, that I were back home waking up in my warm futon.
You wish.
If only this were all a very strange nightmare. But it was not. I had met those men the night before, and they had taken me with them to the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. What will happen to me now? I sighed and laid down to await my fate. It was at that moment that the door slid open and a kind-looking man stepped through.
I see you've woken up.
With a soft smile, he introduced himself as Inoue.
I am sorry that we have to treat you this way. Hold on a moment, I'll loosen the ropes, alright?
He has to say. His smile quirked as he removed my ropes, working quickly and skillfully. My wrists, however, were left bound. Thank you.
Take a drink.
Shit. It's gonna start. It's already been 4 minutes.
So this game that Sappy wanted me to look at earlier, I'm looking at the Steam page for it, and I see what are basically Wooloos armed with Browning M2 machine guns.
What the fuck? What?
Oh shit.
What?
View full size in browser. There we go. Copy image. Take a look at Discord right now.
What the fuck?
It's just fucking Wooloo armed with them 2 machine guns.
Why does it look like Wooloo's? Well, I think that's obvious because Wooloo looks like a sheep.
Yeah.
But they have guns.
Yeah, that's what he said was basically Pokemon was with Pokemon and Arc with guns.
What is this?
It's called Pow World.
Oh, that shit that has been going around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't done my research. I saw some things popping up, but I don't know what's true or not. And by that I mean like AI stuff. I do not know if it's true or not, so me. Anyway, I bowed and let out a short laugh. And he let out a short laugh. Ah, fuck.
Different controls this time?
Yes, because these are the proper English controls.
Now, if you'll follow me...
Huh?
They've been discussing what to do with you since this morning. For now, they've decided to hear exactly what it was you saw last night.
Okay. I nodded and did my best to stand up. My body's still a bit unsteady after being tied up all night. The man who called himself Inoue-san was very polite and almost kind, but it was quite clear that I was to do as I was told. He must have been able to guess my thoughts because he smiled at me and winked.
You don't need to worry. I know they seem scary, but they're all really very nice.
Oh. I wasn't sure what to think of that. Even at home, I heard rumors of the vicious Shinsengumi. They weren't pleasant rumors. It was hard to imagine that the people in charge of such an organization were nice. Inoue-san led me to a room and opened the door. I stepped inside and found myself surrounded by the leaders of the Shinsengumi. Their eyes dug into me like so many knives. I froze just past the threshold and swallowed. What?
I was just laughing at something I posted. Good morning. I hope you slept well.
Oh, I remembered him. Okita-san. Perhaps it was because I was surrounded by strange men, but it was somehow comforting to see a face I recognized. Comforting, huh? Even if it wasn't...
I mean...
What?
I mean what?
I
mean, it's either this or to be, devoured basically by Furies.
Here's the difference between Chizuru and Haruka. Haruka would actually feel actual comfort from seeing Okita.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between Chizuru and Haruka. Even if it was the face of a rather frightening man who was almost certainly willing and able to kill me. Well, it wasn't particularly comfortable. I chose my words very carefully.
Really?
His face twisted sideways into a grin. Fuck you, Okita.
Because when I went to have a look at you earlier, you didn't budge, no matter what I poked. What?
Wait, what? Hold on. Okita-san's grin widened as my face turned red. Saito-san rolled his eyes.
He's only teasing you. Soji didn't go anywhere near your room.
Quite silent, I guess. I stared at Okita-san. I swear that should be silently. Maybe?
I don't know. IDK my BFF Jill.
I I feel like that's something Soji would say all the time.
I would not, though. You can't prove that.
With the screen still playing about his face, he glanced over at Saito-san.
I just wanted to see you squirm a little. Not very nice of you, Hajime-kun, to calling me out like that.
I don't think Saito-san did anything wrong. You, on the other hand...
Shut it. You both sound like... You sound like a bunch of kids.
Hijikata-san's voice broke no further insubordination. Okuta-san shrugged and was silent, but the smile stayed in his eyes. So,
Hijikata. So, Hijikata. Son, this is your witness?
The man who spoke was, well, he looked more like a boy than a man. I knew I remembered that correctly. I'd imagine the leaders of the Shinsengumi to be old, or at least middle-aged men, but they all look quite young. They're in their 20s.
The old ones died.
What?
It's like all the old ones died.
In reality, the captains are all in their 20s.
Yep.
Most of them. In fact, I need to yawn. In fact, they looked rather like a group of young thugs.
He's a real stick, huh? Just a kid.
That was Todo-san. On our way from my bed, Inoue-san had given me a brief description of the people I was about to meet. Supposedly, Todo-san was the youngest captain in the Shinsengumi.
You're calling him a kid, Heisuke? That's rich.
He chuckled as he spoke, but the way he looked at me suggested that there was a little he missed, despite his humor.
Right you are. Say what else. I bet the two of you are just look like another pair of scrawny little brats.
Duh. The man across from him nodded with brows drawn, as if he was quite serious about the subject. And I will point out, Nagakura is actually very smart for a man of his caliber. Like, legitly very smart.
It's like what I say to people. I may be a blonde, but I'm not dumb.
He's book smart, to be fair.
Yeah.
And political and all that shit. However, I remember Inoue-san telling me that two of the men in particular were somewhat immature, to put it nicely.
Somewhat?
Somewhat. He had said the one with short hair was Nagakura-san, and the other with longer hair was Harada-san.
Who is our star this session?
Yes.
Leave off, you grumpy old bastards. The hell I will, boy. You think you can get away with talking to us like that? Besides, I'm hardly mature enough to be called old. Senpachi, maybe, but not me. You son of a bitch! I thought we were friends! Oh, come on, Shin! Would an adult get so worked up over something like that?
They're back and forth had the feel of a routine that long predated my arrival. A very long time. But they couldn't quite hide the odd, inquisitive glance in my direction. I could sense something other than simple curiosity, though. A feeling of animosity, resentment, perhaps. Despite their cheerful levity, they had not forgiven my presence among them. Suddenly, I wanted very much to go home.
You are home.
You are home. I wanted to leave that place and never return. My chest tightened and I looked down at the floor, hoping that I might just wake up at home in my bed.
I apologize for all of this frightening behavior. Please, don't give them the pleasure of unsettling you.
Oh. His voice was calm and warm, and I felt myself relax, even if only a little.
Are you serious? You're the scariest out of all of us, Sanan.
There was the faintest trace of a smirk on Hijikata-san's lips. As he finished speaking, the rest of the men nodded solemnly in agreement. I found it hard to believe this man could be as scary as they all seem to think. You have no idea.
Oh, how crude. I can understand their feelings, but that even our demon of a commander should think so.
The man called Sun-san smiled as he spoke and leaned back, his riposte delivered. Ichikata-san said nothing, but his own smile did not leave his face.
You're lucky to have a friend like Sanan-san, Toshi.
Ichikata-san and Sanan-san had sounded so cold when they'd spoken to one another. Not what I would call friendly. Still, the man who had spoken had certainly sounded as though he thought they were friends.
Oh, but of course they are. Oh, my apologies. I haven't introduced myself yet. I am Isami Kondo, chief of the Shinsengumi.
Can we nickname him Sun Dad? Because he's a sunshine, but also dad.
Kondo-san permits this.
Sun Dad! The most important man in the Shinsengumi, then.
Toshi over there is the commander, and Sanan-san is our colonel. Kondo? Why are you telling him all this? Kondo-san, why are you telling him all this? Why? Do you think that's a bad idea? Well, unless you really think this kid needs to know all of our secrets, then maybe you should keep your mouth shut. Exactly! Why bother anyway? We don't owe this kid anything.
Harada-san glanced over at Kondo-san and let out a bark of laughter.
True, but it's not like telling him will hurt us.
Kondo-san had looked rather disappointed when Hijikata-san spoke, but perked up at Harada-san's words. I'd scarcely known him for 5 minutes, but already I could see that he was well liked by his men. He had that sort of charisma that simply drew you in. A man who was impossible to hate.
Well, let's get back to the business at hand. Can you run through what happened last night?
Kondo-san glanced moved to Saito-san, who gave a small nod and began to speak.
Last night, we were on patrol when we encountered some wandering Ronin. They drew steel, so we fought. Some of our men subdued the Ronin, but in doing so, exposed their failure.
As he finished, Saito-san turned to look at me. I swallowed and forced my mouth to open. I didn't see anything. Hijikata-san softened a little at my response, but Saito-san remained expressionless, and the smile on Okita-san's face didn't change.
Huh. You sure you didn't see anything?
I didn't see anything. I hope that if I said it enough times, they might start to believe me.
Really? Well, if that's true, then I don't see what the problem is. Hold on a minute. I thought Soji said, I gotta see how I handle his honorifics. Ah, yes. Okay, perfect. I thought Soji said that you helped out some of our men or something.
You have the honorifics list open.
Yes,
Brilliant.
I do.
Good. Because I might forget. No, that's not true. I glanced over at Okita-san, but his smile still hadn't changed. Whatever he was thinking was a mystery to me. I was running away from the Ronin. And then some people with Shinsengumi uniforms showed up. Really, they sort of rescued me.
Then that means you saw them slicing up those Ronin, right? What was that?
A heartbeat.
Oh, I thought it was you hitting the mic for some reason.
No. I'm not that quick. I couldn't exactly deny that. But I knew that if I just shut up then, they'd know for sure that I was lying.
So, in other words, you actually saw everything. The whole ugly business.
I was completely at a loss.
You've got an honest heart. That's not really a bad thing, but...
I wasn't sure what to make of Harada-san's words. My presence had not been a good thing for the Shinsengumi. Would their next words be the ones that commended me to death for being in the wrong place at the wrong time? My voice shook, but I knew I had to try. I won't tell anyone, I promise!
It seems unlikely this attack was mere chance. Then again, I have no reason to think you're an enemy either. Even if you do not intend to tell anyone, you could be captured, interrogated. I doubt you could withstand torture.
His voice was still warm, but his words were cold, and I began to feel my chances at life slip away.
It's easy enough to stay quiet, but if someone were to try to coerce you, then you've no reason to keep our secrets. Yeah, we don't have any kind of guarantee that you'll keep your word. It wouldn't be very smart to just let you go.
They had a point, but...
Let's just kill the kid. You want to keep someone quiet? Well, that's the only sure way.
But... I looked desperately at Kondo-san, who gave Okuta-san a reproving look.
Soji, don't be so cold. What do we gain by murdering a civilian?
Okuta-san's smile disappeared, and he looked down at the floor.
Oh, don't give me that look. I was just kidding. Then perhaps it should have sounded like it.
Okuta-san made an attempt at a derisive snort and looked intently at the wall.
Pretty sure that's derisive.
Oh, derisive. Whoops. Derisive snorted and looked intently at a wall, his face slightly red.
But surely there must be something we can do. After all, we are talking about a child here.
I'm 15.
Huh?
I'm 15.
You're still a child.
Ah!
I've no wish to kill him either, but we cannot discount the chance that he could reveal the information about us.
Sana-san paused for a moment, his brows furrowed, then turned to Hijikata-san.
I would like to hear the commander's opinion.
With the responsibility of his position invoked, Hijikata-san had no choice. He sighed and glanced around the room.
Last night, we had to kill some men who broke the code. This kid was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I imagine you mean to say that all there is to it? Well, he probably saw something, but I doubt he really understands what it was. Even so, this is serious. We have bigger things to think about. We have to keep this under wraps. If rumors get out that the soldiers of the Shinsengumi are thirsty for blood, that could be problematic.
This shouldn't be that one. Nagakura-san's words made sense, and they all knew it.
Oh yeah, you're right, it should be.
Hijikata-san's face looked grim.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the honorifics, it does say Nagagura-san.
Yep.
I think Soji has a point. Still, I'll do whatever Hijikata-san and Kondo-san will tell me. I think we ought to let him go!
Todo-san looked troubled.
It's not like he knows why they went nuts, you know?
Wait, what did he mean by that? To be honest, I hadn't really thought about it. Ichikata-san saw my eyes go wide, and I saw his narrow. They flicked to Todo-san.
Shut it, Hesuke.
No sooner were the words out of Hijikata-san's mouth than Todo-san clapped both hands over his own. I heard that.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
I know.
Well, this is gonna make it even harder for us to just let you go. A man should always be prepared to face death. You should make peace with yours.
A man? Oh! They thought I was a boy. With everything else that had happened, I'd completely forgotten how I was dressed.
Very true. A brave death is always an option. Whenever I was younger, I committed honorable suicide. Although it did, I very nearly did the wrong thing. Although it did really stink, did it, Sato?
Their jokes were barbaric, but they both broke into raucous laughter at them. I heard a beep outside.
Beep.
Said did his best to ignore them.
Hijikata-san, since we can't seem to reach a consensus, can I send the child back to his room?
As he spoke, Sato-san turned to look at me.
If you hear something you shouldn't while you're here, then we have no choice but to kill you.
Ah! He was right. If I remained with them, then I could easily hear something I wasn't supposed to. I don't think he'd mention it for my sake, only as a possible concern for the Shinsengumi, but I was still glad he'd brought it up.
True. Can you take care of him?
Saito-san nodded.
I agree. There are too many careless men here. Oh, come on, Sanan! What are you looking at me for? That ought to be pretty obvious. We're in charge of being careless, especially you, Hesuke. Duh! Back off, alright? It was just a mistake, okay?
I could hear Todo-san's voice rise as everyone turned to look at him. He looked at them for a bit, then turned to me and mumbled in a voice I could barely hear.
I'm sorry.
I was still afraid that I was about to die, so I couldn't bring myself to tell him no harm had been done, but he looked as though he meant what he said, so I gave him an awkward nod. It was the most I could manage.
Shall we go?
Alright.
You can now visit the status condition.
Oh! Yay?
I guess.
After they had taken me back to my room, I sat there for a time, looking down at my bound hands. The rumors I'd heard had said the Shinsengumi were cruel.
And she let out a yawn.
Yep. We're cruel, vicious men, but they seemed much more human than that. Then again, even as I sat there, they were deciding whether or not to kill me. I don't think they want to kill me, but it seems like they think they might not have a choice. If I didn't defend myself somehow, I'd most likely be killed. I don't know how I'm supposed to convince them, though. However they might have felt about me, it was clear that their priority was the welfare of the Shinsengumi. Oh, right. They all still thought I was a boy. Perhaps if I told them I was a girl, they might reconsider. Or perhaps they wouldn't. Or perhaps that would make my predicament worse somehow. I had no idea what I should do next.
Find a way to escape?
Attempt to explain my situation.
Oh!
I will tell them the truth. Perhaps if I did, they understand my predicament. Perhaps they think I'm from Kyoto as well. If I
That was
told...
Kyo.
Yeah, oh yeah, Kyo. Blech. Even if I told them I only just arrived in Kyoto, they might lower their guards. Or so I hoped. I didn't know anyone in Kyoto, and I'd only come to look for my father. I hadn't even told them I'm a girl. The rest perhaps could wait, but I felt that it might be wise to tell them I was a girl. I took a deep breath and then shouted as loud as I could. Excuse me? Is anyone there? After a few moments, duck.
The Saizo in this universe is a duck.
No, we are not. Yeah. No, we are not. We are not putting a Saizo duck. We are not.
But
no.
Saizo duck.
God damn it. What would we do with the Saizo? We already have Shimu. What would we do with the Saizo duck? Oh God. After a few moments, the door slid open, and several faces appeared around the edges.
Scooby-Doo style. Well, you got some balls, I'll give you that. We got you locked up, and that doesn't stop you from yelling at us.
You looked a little impressed.
You called us. Here we are. If you made up your mind about dying...
Well, he was right. I had called him over. I took a deep breath and spoke.
Care to see what's under me kilt?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I want you to hear me out.
It is unlikely that we can sympathize with your situation. So long as you understand that, say what you wish.
Sato-san's cold words were like a blow to my chest. The courage I built up rapidly began to ebb.
I sympathize with your awful luck. May you rest in peace. A man should know when to accept his fate.
They all spoke as if they'd already co-signed me to death. It was time to make my choice. I
feel like it's decided to tell him that you weren't a boy.
The answer is... gave up.
Wait, give up?
I tucked my legs underneath me and sat up as straight and dignified as I could manage.
Do you have anything to say before you die? You said earlier you wanted us to hear you out.
Forget it. He didn't look as though that was the answer he'd expected. Earlier he told me that I should just accept my death and try to rest in peace. His mind was already made up. What chance did I really have? Just get this over with. I didn't want to die, but... if I told them I was really a girl, then they'd almost certainly ask why I'd been dressed as a man. There wasn't any way I could explain that without mentioning my father. If I'd happened to say something I shouldn't, then I could get my father and Matsumoto-sensei in trouble. That thought alone kept my mouth shut.
I like those eyes. Looks like you've made up your mind.
He smiled and laid his hand on the sword at his hip.
Hold on, Sano. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet.
Sato-san's voice stopped him as surely as if he'd put his hand on the other man's arm. Harada-san looked over at Sato-san for a moment as his mouth quirked into a small smile.
True. Besides, it seems like a waste. Not every day you come across a girl with balls like this one. Cut!
Huh? My eyes went wide.
Take my advice, rookie. You ever meet a girl? Make sure she's got balls.
Fuck.
From Halo 3 ODST.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
actually what Buck says to the rookie in like the last stretch of the game.
You gotta show me that.
Oh yes.
What? How did you know? Harada-san opened his mouth to reply, but Nagakura-san didn't let him.
Wait a minute there, Sano. Did you just say girl? Girl? Oi! Well, I was just trying to get a rise out of her, but I guess I hit something, huh? I mean, come on, did you think that the kid was a little girly?
Nagakura seemed more distraught than I'd expected. Look at that face. I mean...
It's the bros.
He's like, shit.
It's like whenever Vegeta finally realizes that it's dark on Namek. Beep 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 beep. All you motherfuckers!
He looked as though he was about to say something, but Todo-san patted him on the shoulder and glanced at me.
Alright then, how about you tell us why you decided to dress up like a man?
At some point.
Yeah.
Whoosh!
Whoosh.
There I was, surrounded once again by the leaders of the Shinsengumi.
I did think you were rather pretty, but to think that you were in fact a lady this whole time.
Kondo-san was nodding his head solemnly over and over, as if he were agreeing with a very intelligent suggestion.
Once you know she's a girl, I mean, she really doesn't look like a boy at all, does she?
Something about that seemed to impress Todo-san.
Then we bound a girl and left her for an entire night? Oh dear.
He looked at me, his eyes concerned. Each of them took the news differently.
Well, she claims to be a girl, but it's not like we have any actual proof, right? Nagakura, no.
Proof? Harada-san laughed. Nagakura-san grumbled to himself under his breath. Damn it!
Oh, proof. Really? It's not obvious enough for you? Alright, would you feel better if I strip her down?
Please don't.
No, you will absolutely not. Even such a thing as suggesting is preposterous.
Kondo-san shut up before I had even finished. His face bright red, but Harada-san's words hadn't any malice behind them.
I just figured it was the quickest way to settle the question.
This is why you're a part of the Baka trio. He shrugged and settled back into his seat. Nagakura-san had crossed his arms and his brows were knit.
Well, if you really are a girl, then killing just kind of feels wrong. It doesn't matter. If we have to kill her, then she dies.
Hijikata-san's words left no room for argument.
Gender is irrelevant. Killing in general is wrong. We were organized to protect the public good while in the city of Kyo. It would be ill-served. We would ill-serve the public good by murdering civilians in cold blood. Yeah, but if this girl or boy is a threat to the peace, then that's a horse of a different color. I'm pretty sure it would be pink. Or maybe it'd be blue.
Oh god. He had that grin again.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. The Shinsengumi didn't enjoy a shining reputation already. If rumors began to spread that their men were thirsty for blood, things weren't likely to go well for them. They wouldn't be able to operate in Kyo, and with no one to protect the people, the city would eventually fall into chaos. I could see in their eyes that each one of them knew full well the consequences Rath's actions could have. Bleh. But
Well then, we only need to determine if you are a threat. Will you tell us your side of the story?
I could feel all their eyes upon me. The room went quiet. My name is Chizuru Yukimura. I told them everything. How I lived in Edo, how I'd come to Kyoto to find my father.
Oh, so then you're from Edo as well, and you came all the way to Kyoto to find your father?
I could see emotion welling up in his eyes.
What business did your father have in Kyoto?
My father's a doctor. His name is Kodo Yukimura, and he specializes in Western medicine.
What?
Huh? The moment my father's name crossed my lips, the atmosphere in the room changed.
Oh my. So the good Dr. Kodo has a daughter?
You know my father? I was unsure what the sudden silence meant, only that the revelation of my parentage had caused a pronounced change in their behavior. It was Saito-san who finally broke the silence.
The Shinsengumi is currently attempting to determine the whereabouts of a Dr. Kodo Yukimura.
You're after my father? Why?
That's oh no, we've got nothing. You got us all wrong. We're not after him.
Oh, I see. Tension that I hadn't noticed up here began to dissipate.
He's the fellow supporter of the Shogun, but well, he kind of disappeared a little while ago. There's a reasonable chance that the enemies of the Shogun have identified him as a threat.
My eyes went wide, but Saito-san kept talking as if I'd done nothing.
There's also a chance that, of course, that he's still alive. Doctors trained in Western medicine are valuable and rare.
I wasn't sure what else to do, so I nodded. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst out onto the floor. Father... Was he safe?
But with you, we have a much better chance of finding the good doctor. Not till the end of the game, sadly.
Huh? Sana-san continued. Apparently my father had only visited a small number of times. I understood then what he'd meant. It would be difficult for them to track down someone they barely knew.
You are his daughter, however. You ought to be able to recognize him no matter how he may have disguised himself, yes?
Yes, I could. I nodded as I spoke, and gave him what I hoped was a steady, reassuring smile.
Well, if she is his daughter, we can't really kill her, can we?
Which means more work for me, his eyes added. They narrowed as he looked down at me.
If you swear you'll forget about what you saw last night, then we'll look after you until you can find your father. Fair? I promise that the Shinsengumi will do whatever they can to help you find Kodo-sensei.
Thank you so much. Take a
Take
drink.
a drink.
I think it's... Oh god, how long has it been?
Let's see. It's been about probably half hour, 40 minutes.
So it's the last thank you?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think so.
Because we've been going for about 45 minutes now.
I remember taking a drink at like 4 minutes and something seconds.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I never imagined something like this. Not only had I survived, I'd found my first decent lead.
You must be pretty glad we won't be killing you, huh? Well, won't be killing you just now, at any rate.
He gave me that same wolfish grin. Fuck you, Okuta. There was no denying that my situation was still less than desirable, but at that moment, I didn't care. I'm very glad. The yawns are back. I'd been through a lot, but at last I'd found help, and where I'd never have expected it, the Shinsengumi. Kyo hadn't been kind to me, even though I'd been there less than a day, but it looked as though my fortunes were taking a turn for the better. I still had a long way to go, and I had worries aplenty, but it was important to stay optimistic.
I prefer to place you in the custody of the Judiciary Commissioner or the Aizu rather than keep you in a house full of men, but...
Kondo-san let the sentence hang in the air and looked at me, his arms folded. It was clear I had no choice but to stay with the Shinsengumi.
Should you require anything, you only need ask. We will do what we can to accommodate you.
Oh. His expression didn't change, but his words were unexpectedly warm. I looked away from him awkwardly, but I still felt the heat rise in my cheeks. Thank you.
Take a drink!
That was 2 minutes.
Yep.
Jesus.
Well, I guess we have to be nicer to you now that we know you're a girl. Hey, you're always nice to the ladies, Shin. Sure didn't take long for you to change your tune once you figured out she was a girl, though, huh? Cut! Whatever. Having a lady here at headquarters is sure gonna brighten things up, won't it?
I wasn't entirely sure what would be the outcome. I wasn't entirely sure that would be the outcome.
Still, we can hardly treat her as one of our soldiers. Something else must be done with her. Then make her a page or something. You want an assistant, Kondo-san? How about you, Salad-san?
He gave a small shrug. Whatever was done with me, it seemed he no longer cared.
Oh, come on now, Hijikata-san. It was your idea. You can't just pawn her off on someone else. Ah, excellent. I believe we can trust Toshi with her.
Kondo-san's face split into a wide smile and he slapped his leg in agreement.
Well, there you have it, Hijikata-san. I hope you'll take good care of her.
And this will never come into play again.
Yeah, because it's not his route.
It's not the poster boy's route. Silent-san's smile had more than a little bit of a mocking twist to it.
Okay, first one of the stream.
You goddamn snake!
You sons of bitches.
As I watched their back and forth, some of my earlier relief began to ebb away. What was going to happen to me?
1 month later.
I do not think Haruka makes an appearance in the first month.
So therefore she would show up right about now.
I think? Because they have to tell Haruka at some point. I slid the door open and a breath of cool morning air met me. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. They allowed me to roam around the compound as I pleased, and I was given a room of my own. They weren't the best accommodations, but given that they'd very nearly murdered me instead, I thought it's best not to complain. Still, I looked down at my feet on the cold floor and sighed. Do I really need to dress like this all the time? They'd given me a place to live for the time being, but it hadn't been without conditions.
Oh, the Shinsengumi will look after you, but we can't have a woman running around our headquarters.
As he explained, if rumors were to spread that the Shinsengumi were keeping a woman in their compound, tongues would begin to wag. It might even bring the people who were after my father to the Shinsengumi in search of me. Of course, I hadn't been able to determine whether or not he'd even been attacked. There were a great many questions left unanswered. Then this is why I like the anime, because they gave us an answer to this. The clinic burned down. And with that, we know something happened, but what? So where's my pen? I need to write something. Pen! I found it. We could ill afford any reckless decisions. Or so Hijikata-san had told me. But
in other words, we need you to pretend keep. Yeah. In other words, we need you to keep pretending to be a man. I doubt that's what you wanted to hear, but you do it or you're out on your ass. Clear? I said clear.
I know. Hey. I was writing, sorry. His reasoning was sound. I hate you.
But you gotta admit that was actually really good and in character.
Yes, it was. Congratulations.
I have a pen for you. Here, I'm gonna throw it at the screen. It'll magically appear in DC. Damn it.
It's in my hand!
Why did you go full screen?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It went full screen.
What?
It somehow pressed F11. And it took me full screen on the Twitch side of things.
Oh my god.
Only a moment.
Are you okay?
Yes.
But perhaps more than that, I knew he was looking out not only for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice, of course, but knowing that made following his orders at least somewhat more palatable.
I doubt you would do so intentionally, but the presence of a woman could disrupt morale, so to speak.
His tone suggested he was joking, but it was clear that he was telling the truth as well.
For that reason, only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth of your situation.
If word were to get out, there was no telling how fast rumors could spread, or where to. I had to stay a boy. Alright then, what should I do while I'm here?
Nothing. You're gonna get a room, and you're gonna stay in it. Really? I could have sworn he decided she was gonna be someone's page.
Fuck you, Okita. Hijikata-san turned towards Okita-san and his eyes narrowed.
And those were the exact words that he would have said. Doji, keep your tongue in your mouth or I'll cut the fucking thing off.
Before long, I'd been there for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. I prefer otherwise, of course, but I'll do what I have to. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it yet, but since I'd been dressing like a boy, I'd grown rather used to the feel of wearing pants and of having the kodachi my father had given me always at my hip. He presented me with it when I was only a child, and impressed upon me at least some sense of its importance. Supposedly, it had been in the Yukimura family for generations. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, so I knew which end was meant for the enemy, but I had never much cared for weapons. They hurt people, of course, but it was more than that, at least for me. As for as far back as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. When I asked my father, he told me that it was a gift from the gods, but that I should tell no one of it.
Well, that's not suspicious at all.
Magical child? You wouldn't want to keep that secret when most people do not do that? You sure?
No, the fact that it was,
What?
something from the gods.
I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they did. And they did. Ever since then, I'd done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I was rather afraid of them. Dressing as a man all the time was frustrating, as was carrying a sword, but it was my condition that worried me the most. Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank-and-file soldiers had been treating me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I'd heard having a private room was a rare privilege, even for the captains. For a child to appear out of nowhere and be given better treatment than their own captains, it was little wonder the soldiers resented me. True. I suppose I can't really blame them. Also, quite simply, I felt bad. I was enjoying the hospitality, such as it was, of the Shinsengumi, and so I felt I should help them in some way. But I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. There wasn't much opportunity for me to learn either. Hijikata-san had instructed me to leave my room as little as possible. From time to time, the captains or other officers would send me on one From time to time, the captains or other officers would send me on one errand or another, but I was nothing approaching a page. Most of the duties they gave me were things more suited for a maid than a soldier, and it made the rest of the men even more resentful for what appeared to be special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. My mistakes could mean serious trouble for them, so they were yelling. So they were doing their best to keep me away from the other soldiers. Then again, perhaps I was just a poor actor. Their soldiers almost never spoke to me, but when they did, it was difficult for me to act manly. All too often, the captains had to step in to cover for me. Each time they did it, it made it look as though I couldn't even manage to speak for myself, and I felt even worse. If I'm really going to stay here, I'd like to be friends with at least some of them. But I can't exactly tell them the truth, can I? Indeed, I couldn't, and so I had no choice but to stay out of the way and keep to myself. It wasn't a pleasant existence, and I was beginning to feel depressed. If I'm supposed to stay out of the way, then I shouldn't be leaving my room, but I very much wanted to go look for my father. However, even after a week had passed, I was still not allowed to leave headquarters. I come to Kyo in search of my father, but for the time being, it seemed that search had been stopped in its tracks. Perhaps, I thought, I could talk to Hijikata-san, if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh no, that's right. Hijikata-san had left on a trip to Osaka several days before. Perhaps I can sneak out while he's not here. I wasn't sure what to do.
Talk to someone!
Nope, but...
Search the compound?
Search the compound. Hold on. I decided to use this time to figure out what Haruka's answers would be.
She would talk to someone, I think.
For which one does that lead to?
Isn't that Heisuke?
Talk to someone?
For Heisuke.
What do you, talk to someone equals Hesuke?
I think so.
No, it does not.
Nah!
I think that's Okita.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Anyways, let's search the compound.
Yep, search the compound. As I thought about it, I realized that I had no idea how the Shinsengumi compound was laid out. If I was to live there, I thought, then I ought to make an effort to learn. I took a deep breath, gathered my courage, and stepped out of the room. There's no one here. I looked around. The hall was utterly empty. Then again, I realized since I'd snuck out of my room, it was probably for the best that no one had seen me. Still, I felt a little guilty about it. Perhaps I should have stayed in my room. Oh, right, yeah, no, talk to someone is Soji and Saito, okay. I remember now. If I wandered around the compound, there was a good chance I'd see something I wasn't supposed to. I'd already stumbled onto one of the Shinsengumi secrets the night I met them. I had no wish to do so again. I suppose it's better to know than be ignorant, but I promised to forget what I'd seen that night. What should I do? After some deliberation, I decided it was best to return to my room, but as I turned to walk back... Huh? From somewhere near the entrance, I heard... something. Slowly, I looked around the corner. I want to do a BRB here.
Okay, I'll be right back.
It lives in the tree today. There we go. BRB.
All right.
hello?
Boop?
Boop? Hi.
Yeah, okay.
I'm back.
Yes, and get rid of BRB. There it goes.
There it goes. Slowly, I looked around the corner. Walking towards the door, looking as if they would really prefer not to be seen, were Harada-san and Nagakura-san.
It's sneaking time.
Oh,
What?
can I come with you? Maybe if they let me go outside, I could finally start looking for my father.
Well, I don't really care, but I don't think you're gonna have a lot of fun. Hey, no, you idiot! We can't take her! And you don't even have the authority to give her permission to leave anyway!
He poked Harada-san in the chest as he spoke, but there was something almost nervous in his manner.
Now I have a yawn. Shit!
Ah!
Huh? Oh, right. We aren't supposed to let you out of the house, huh? They won't even let you out of your room without an escort.
Well, where are you going anyway?
No, changing the subject. Well, whatever. We were on our way to Shimabara if you really want to know.
Shimabara? The name was familiar. Wait, that's in the red light district, isn't it? Nagakura-san looked back and forth between us and sighed.
Come on, what are you doing? Telling a girl the truth about us going to Shimabara? You know me, I can't lie. It's not like we're going there to do anything bad. No, maybe you're right. You're just coming along to drink.
Nagakura-san, are you going for something other than the alcohol? He made a face I couldn't interpret and looked away. True, there were probably a lot of beautiful women in Shimabara. Someone like Harada-san who just went to drink was probably pretty rare. But you're going in the afternoon?
Isn't that every man's dream?
Harada-san didn't seem terribly concerned about the appearance of impropriety. Well, even so, I hardly think it's good to be drinking in the afternoon. Even if it was every man's dream, I still couldn't bring myself to condone it. Two of their captains drinking in the middle of the afternoon would hardly help the already low public opinion of the Shinsengumi. Then again, it's not like it was really my business to care about how people thought of the Shinsengumi.
Yeah, I see your point. It's not really proper to be screwing around so early in the day. Wait a minute, which version do you mean?
Huh?
Nagakura, what type of screwing do you talking about?
Jesus Christ.
I make a valid point.
Ask Harada.
Huh?
By that I mean, Harada and Haruka, they have a place outside of the headquarters. Do with that as you will.
Yeah, we do.
I did indeed find it inappropriate, but his emphasis on the qualifier worried me.
Kyo's been really dangerous lately, though. We can't exactly go have our fun at night like normal people.
True.
So, the hell with how appropriate it is. A man's gotta live. We're gonna party whenever we feel like it. Right, Sano?
That didn't really seem right.
I feel like he would definitely say, right, Sano?
Yeah. But even so, on some level, his absurd logic made sense. After all, everyone needs to relax from time to time, especially if they have the worries of the Shinsengumi. And if they worked at night, then when else would they go out but the afternoon? I was still thinking of that when Todo-san walked in.
Oh, teasing it? Are you coming too?
Well, I still haven't been given permission to leave the house. I don't want Hijikata-san to get mad at me. I shook my head and gave a little shrug. Todo-san's face fell a little bit. So, you're going to Shimabara too then, Todo-san?
Well, yeah. Look, Cheesehead, you don't have to call me Toto, okay? It just feels kind of cold, you know?
Well, what should I call you then?
Well, just call me Hesuke, just like everyone else. I mean, after all, we are going to be living together for quite a while.
Is that really okay? I mean, I don't want to be rude. He nodded enthusiastically. Alright then, Hesuke-kun.
Alright, there you go. So what do you say we start over, huh? Hello, Chichiru. It's a pleasure to meet you.
He gave me a short, friendly bow. Okay, it's a pleasure to meet you too, Hesuke-kun. It wasn't anything important, I knew, but something about the exchange made me feel happy. Whether or not he'd intended to, Hesuke had cheered me up. Because he's a good boy.
Hesuke is good boy.
Hesuke is good boy. But you're still going to Shimabara then? He opened his mouth, then closed it again, unsure of what to say.
Well, okay, I'm not going there for the girls, okay? I just want to hang out with the guys, you know?
Oh. The rest of the men treated him like a little brother, so it was easy to forget, but Hesuke-kun was an adult. At any rate, I'd heard he could hold his liquor well enough. Are we sure about that? Wait, you have access to the honorifics, right?
Yeah.
They should also have a list of the drunks. How drunk can everybody get?
I'm looking at this.
How well does Hesuke hold his liquor?
I just only did the one that you sent me.
Like, they should have a homepage.
Oh.
And in it, like, the very first thing is, like, a list of all the things, and it's something, something drink, or something, something drunk.
Okay, so that's characters Yamazaki and Saito. What? You know what? To the wiki.
Is Wiki gonna have it?
No.
Okay, I'll find it. Tokyo Fujita.
Sorry, chat. This is really important.
This is important. We must know because there is canon information.
Uh-huh.
Drink, drank, drunk. Oops.
Drink. Drink. Drunk. Oh, right. I'm gonna check on this.
Check on what? Hesuke places 9th in average capacity.
Of course, Katsuma is apparently the best drinker. Or is he the worst?
The best drinker.
I call bullshit.
He's... Honestly, I don't know how to feel. He can hold his liquor well. He's not at the bottom, at least. But he's still... Eh. As I looked at his smile, I simply couldn't bring myself to try and stop him.
Hijikata's got a limit of about 4 pints.
Anyway.
Well, maybe if you're dressed up like a real woman, that'd be enough eye candy to keep us out of trouble.
Harada. What?
Hey, yeah! Yeah, you'd have to be real cute, though. Once the stuff settles down, you ought to start dressing like a girl again.
You guys, this is just so sudden. I could feel my face turning bright red. For some reason, it seemed embarrassing for them to suddenly start treating me like a girl, as if they'd only just remembered. Not sure what else to do. I give them an awkward nod and they beamed back at me. When I get the chance someday, alright? Heisuke almost literally jumped for joy.
That's a promise, Chizuru. Chizuru. Sorry. Chizuru, you better not forget.
Okay. Weirdly enough, that was an option in the remix. That little bit was an option because this scene had to include Nagakura, and I made Nagakura as a root, so they made that an option, I guess.
Okay.
I hardly needed them to tell me to dress like a woman again. Once my life had calmed down a bit, I only promised to do something I would certainly have done anyway, so why did I feel so embarrassed? Because you promised, boys.
Morgan, what did you get here?
Bye.
He's playing around with portals again.
Yeah.
Look, Chizuru-chan, you gotta see our side here. We ass every day keeping Kyo safe.
That's not a very convincing excuse. Even as I said that, though, I knew that he was right. It was perfectly normal for boys to go have their fun in Shimabara. Besides, it was I to try and stop them from going in the first place. I certainly didn't have any authority. Going to the pleasure quarters in the broad daylight still seemed questionable to me, but if their superiors didn't mind. I was a guest of the Shinsengumi, and it would hardly be polite for me to try and tell them what to do. But even so, they had gone out of their way to talk to me until I felt better about the situation. That alone told me that they were good men with nothing to hide. Alright. A part of me was jealous of them. I had no interest in going to Shimabara, of course, but I had no choice in the matter. I was confined to the compound. With their freedom, I could have gone in search of my father, but as it was, I could do nothing.
I'll bring you back something. What sort of food do you like?
Did he really think the city had nothing to offer me but food? I mean, I don't know. Well, even if he did, I couldn't say I didn't want a little something from outside. Alright then. I'd like some tangerines. Maybe we could eat them together tomorrow afternoon? Harada gave a single short laugh and nodded.
Soon as Ichikata-san gets... Do I call him that? Hang on.
Ichikata-san.
Yeah, I do. Alright, as soon as Ichikata-san gives you permission to go out, then we'll take you wherever you want to go.
He certainly sounded as though he meant it, at least.
Yeah, I did.
Well, thank you, but...
Take a drink.
Hold on. But, Heisuke-kun, you don't need to worry, alright?
Take a drink.
Yes, let me finish the sentence, damn it.
No.
Nah! Num. Num. Hold on. Okay. Even if you can't take me now, the intent is what matters. You cheered me up. He frowned quickly, but it was gone in a moment, and he gave me a simple nod. Then, just as they were about to finally leave...
What the fuck? Is that you?
That's supposed to game.
Oh, and just where do you think you're going?
We all turned as one to see Inoue-san walking towards us.
Busted. Damn it. Just had to begin, son, huh?
His voice was only not loud enough for us to hear. Perhaps they did feel a bit guilty for going to Shimabara, I realized. I couldn't help but feel a little bit sorry for them. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but, I had no idea what else to say.
That sucks. Well, you know Gensan, right? Well, yeah, we are gonna go trade. Yeah, that's it.
Heisuke quickly warmed to his excuse, as did Nagakura-san.
Yeah, exactly, just like Heisuke said. I mean, it's such a nice day outside, the sun's out, and the breeze is warm.
To me, at least, the day felt rather cold, but perhaps Nagakura-san wasn't as sensitive to such things. I decided to keep my mouth shut. Inoue-san raised an eyebrow.
My goodness, you're all so diligent. We train together so rarely these days. Might I join you?
He looked honestly happy, pleased with the dedication of his fellows. Their faces say it all.
That's a screenshot.
Hi, Baka Trio. I didn't know what to say. Harada-san, Heisuke-kun, and Nagakura-san all looked as though they just learned of a beloved pet's death. Oh, that's a way of putting it.
That is a way of putting it.
I'm sorry?
I take a drink?
I guess.
No, I was just going with her on that. Just like, I'm sorry?
I know.
No, she said sorry, but...
To not somehow acknowledge what had just happened seemed wrong, somehow. I had to say something. It was at that very moment that Heisuke-kun spoke up. I got a Discord message.
Yeah, it's our big guy.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry. I really wanted to trade with you guys, but I just remembered I already had plans for today.
Plans?
See, I already promised Chizuru-chan that I'd give her a tour of headquarters, right?
It was news to me.
He's thinking with his feet. Shut up.
Still, when he looked at me with eyes like those of a sad puppy, I had no choice but to go along. And that's why Haruka gives him a puppy charm.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. His eyes sparkled and he grabbed a hold of my hand and began to walk off. Heisuke-kun had cheered me up earlier after all. Perhaps this way I was able to pay him back for that.
Hold on there, Heisuke. You really think you could...
Before he could even finish, Harada-san interrupted, a mischievous grin on his face.
Oh no. I better come too, Chizuru. Yeah. Make sure none of the guys give you any trouble.
Well, okay, but...
I see. Well, Harada-san does have a point. I'll leave her in your care then. Alright, Senpachi, shall we go? I expected this from you, Heisuke, but you, Sano? I thought you were better than that!
His knuckles had gone wide and he positively shook with anger.
You're my brother, Sano! I loved you! Time to go.
What?
Huh? Shin's got a bit of a short temper. Shibatsu-san has got a bit of a short temper.
Iska grabbed my hand and Hana-san pushed me from behind, and soon we were moving away from the entrance at a rapid clip.
I believe that would be rapid pace. That sounds so much better.
I know. I'm just reading the text, man. I hope the new translation is better. I could still hear Nagakura-san yelling, but the two men with me had begun to laugh, their eyes sparkling with mirth. It was infectious, and I quickly found myself laughing along with them. Nagakura-san, on the other hand, had little cause for levity. I heard later that he and Inoue-san spent the rest of the day training, just the two of them. Nagakura-san's mouth was always in motion, and plenty that came out of it was none too nice, but underneath all that was a good man. The shadows... I watched shadows drift up my wall as the orange light of the sun painted my room the color of autumn leaves. How long am I going to do this? Solitude was proving detrimental to any sort of continued optimism. All my thoughts eventually turned dark and hopeless. It was depressing, but most of all, it was frustrating. How could I let myself be discouraged so easily? Fairly easily, actually. I'd been swept up in a frightening world I didn't understand and couldn't possibly control. I can't possibly figure out what's happening to Father if I'm stuck here. Only Hijikata-san could give me permission to leave, and he's gone. All I could do was wait.
Time to play the waiting game.
Lamenting things I couldn't change wouldn't improve my situation, and would arguably make it worse. Still, there was at least one thing I had to be thankful for. At least they've all been nice to me. I knew I couldn't trust the men of the Shinsengumi completely. They were, after all, men who could take life in the blink of an eye. It would be all too easy for the next life they took to be mine. They're nice men deep down, right? Told you.
Has anyone ever called you gullible yet?
My voice froze in my throat. I turned slowly to find Okita-san standing behind me. What are you doing here?
Oh, you didn't notice me? Well, it's my turn to keep watch.
Where were you earlier? Of course I was under surveillance, which meant... Did you hear everything I said? He said nothing, only smiled and blinked laconically?
Yeah, I guess.
Ah.
Hello?
Who arrived?
I don't know, I'm about to... God damn it! I knew it! I knew it! Like, if it's that big of a silence, it's fucking chalk!
I'm gonna take this opportunity to drink. Go crazy. I get permission.
Yeah.
Alright! That's enough! Chuck!
I pressed the cricket, that was my fault.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It wasn't on purpose.
Uh-huh. Alright, time to continue.
Yes. So hush.
He'd heard me. He had definitely heard me. I wanted to scream, but before I could open my mouth, Saito-san stepped out from behind the door.
I think that's enough fraternizing, Soji.
Were you here the whole time too?
I had only arrived moments ago.
Oh, thank goodness. I pressed my hand to my chest in an effort to calm my pounding heart. I'm sorry for screaming like that. Take a drink.
Yep.
That's what I was just thinking. Nobody has decided to play in the pond yet. In The Sims. Yeah? The ducks are there.
You're in the road? What do you mean you're in the road?
Hold on. What? What?
Oh, right. He's over in, the voice chat.
I see.
I mean, in the road, like...
Oh, he's on the road. Are you on the road? Are you driving?
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, sir.
Hush.
You go.
Oh, it's nothing. At any rate, it isn't as if you were saying anything that might cause you cause trouble for you. Cut!
Then he had heard me. It's true. I didn't say anything, bad, but still. It's embarrassing being caught talking to oneself. I was so embarrassed. Saito-san looked from me to Okita-san and back, and his brows drew together almost imperceptibly.
I've come to tell you that dinner is ready, but... Have I interrupted something?
Oh, no! Oh, no, nothing at all. I shook my head empathetically.
I had intended to wait until you and Soji finish your discussion, but...
He let the words hang in the air, but his eyes said that he determined we continue forever if he didn't interrupt. I'd opened my mouth to say, I'm not sure what, when... The moment he saw us, however, his face fell.
What's going on here, Hajime? Hajime? Hajime.
Hajime!
Hajime-kun? You and her buddies now? My apologies, I was only here on business.
With the ducks.
Size of the duck.
God damn! Heisuke-kun perked up at Saito-san's apology, and he gave the other man a quick grin.
Well, hey, it's time to eat. Let's go. We don't hurry up. It's all gonna be gone. It'll be Senpachi-san's fault.
Okay. And it's true.
You're late.
The moment we stepped into the dining hall, Nagakura-san and Harada-san looked up at us.
Oh, don't worry about the food. I ate it all already.
Oh, God.
You kids are late. Who's gonna answer to my crying stomach? You mean growling, Shin-san? Really, he's so simple sometimes. You guys ought to apologize to my stomach. He wanted to dig in, but I said, no, we need to wait for the rest of them. You're such a softy, Shin. Well, alright, it's time to eat, you guys, and that means every man for himself. Man, there's barely enough here to feed a kid, let alone a man, so I'll just have to take yours, Heisuke. Survival of the fittest. This food is mine. Why do you always steal my food? That's because the difference in size, kid. I've got a bigger body. That means I need more food. Well, I'm still growing, old man, so I gotta eat more too. Sorry you had to see this cheese to do. They're always like this.
I've, gotten used to it.
Is accepting such insanity somewhat frightening? Is acceptance of such insanity not somewhat frightening? That food is mine.
Oh, why aren't you taking anything?
Yeah, I'm good. If I get too full, then I start getting slow. What do you mean, slow? Ah, whatever. I'm taking that. Go for it. As long as I got a little sake to sip, I'm good. Then I guess I'm going, huh? Then I guess I'm going with sake too.
The difference.
Don't worry about being a freeloader or anything, Chizuru-chan. Just eat your little heart out, alright?
I know. I can't help but feel a little bad, though.
Well, if you let that get to you, you're going to lose. You have to protect what's yours. That's mine.
Okay. You see that scene? You see that scene, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love drawing this as the opposite. That's why I love it as the opposite. It's too perfect.
Yeah.
Haruka's just
Haruka. Yeah.
Haruka's just annoyed and I'm like, God damn it. Stop stealing his food.
What? I need food just as much as the little twerp does, too.
Then let him eat food.
I'll let him have whatever I don't eat.
Okay. I will make your portion smaller.
Ma'am, that is fighting words.
But no, really. No, crew, actually, in reality, okay. Because he knows she would.
Ma'am, those are fighting words.
What was that?
Fine, I'll just tosses it over to him. Hey! Like, it's a literal toss.
Uh-huh. Ducks. Anyway. Okay. It was actually rather fun to have dinner with such a strange group of men. I'd eaten alone for so long that to do so with others was frightening and exhilarating all at once.
Oh, great. 100% chance of freezing rain tomorrow with a high of 37.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, right?
Anyway.
See, there's that smile. You ought to do that more often. We aren't gonna hurt you.
Harada-san. His mouth curled up into an honest smile of his own. Had I really looked so down? The fuck?
Can I get appropriate noises at inappropriate times for 500, Alec?
Had I really looked so down? Perhaps they were all trying to cheer me up. I wasn't quite sure how to feel. There was a part of me that felt bad, while another part felt a certain amount of joy. The joy seemed to be winning out, however, and I was smiling to myself when Inoue-san stepped in from the hall.
Gentlemen, do you have a moment?
As usual, his voice was warm, but in his eyes was a level of solemnity. Solemnity?
Yeah, solemnity.
Solemnity.
I think.
I'd never seen before, at least during our thus far brief acquaintance. The warmth of the room disappeared almost immediately.
I just received one from Osaka. Sanan-san has been gravely injured in battle. See, that was... Yeah, that's the appropriate time to play something like that.
What? How many people are in this room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 people in this room. Thank you! They all went quiet. Inoue-san continued. Sanan-san had gone to investigate a report of several Ronin harassing a cloth merchant. He'd managed to drive them off, but not before being wounded by the Ronin. Is he going to be alright?
It wasn't his sword arm that was wounded. He's almost certain to survive, but wielding a blade will be difficult for him.
Oh, thank goodness. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding, but it seemed that the rest of the room didn't share my relief.
He should be returning here in a few days. Now, please, excuse me. I must speak with Kondo-san.
He turned as he spoke, his last words delivered over his shoulder, and was gone. It was Saito-san who eventually broke the awkward silence.
A sword is not made to be carried in a single hand. If his injury is severe, he may never carry a blade again.
Oh. At last I understood. Yes, Sanan-san was alive, but without the ability to wield a sword. Sanan-san the man had survived the encounter with the Ronin, but Sanan-san the warrior had not.
Fighting with a single hand would mean less strength behind his blows. Against an opponent of similar skill, he would almost certainly lose.
Of course. Fighting with one hand would be fighting at half strength. Even a skilled warrior would have trouble. Okita-san sighed.
Nah. Push comes to shove, he'll have to take it. I don't think Sanan-san's just gonna give up. Don't jinx him, Soji! It's gonna look bad if officers start joining the Corps.
Huh? Wait, that didn't make any sense. But what do you mean, core? Isn't that the Shinsengumi?
Senpachi!
I didn't understand. What was the core if it wasn't the Shinsengumi itself? But the way he said it, they couldn't have been referring to the Shinsengumi.
Well, yeah. Normally, yeah. You might call the Shinsengumi the Elite Volunteer Corps. Whenever we talk about the Corps, though, we... Heisuke?
Huh? Before I could move, Harada-san was on his feet and halfway across the room. I barely had time to gasp before he drove his fist into Heisuke.
Ow!
Heisuke-kun, are you alright? Kura-san sighed.
Sano, you're overreacting. Heisuke, do you think before you open that damn mouth? His eyes were cold as... Oh.
Oh, that's weird. His eyes were cold and hard as he turned to look straight at me. It was clear Heisuke-kun had told me something he shouldn't have, but what?
Sorry.
After a moment, Harada-san gave the younger man a curt nod of apology, and Heisuke-kun responded with a quick, pained smile.
Yeah, still, I should have been watching what I said. Sano, you start throwing these things around way too easily.
His punch had hit with enough force to knock a lesser man out cold, but Heisuke-kun seemed only slightly the worse for wear. It had never been clearer that I was not among normal people. Yeah?
That's all you're going to hear about this particular topic, Chizuru-chan. I'm sure you're curious, but we can't tell you anything else, so don't ask.
His voice was friendly enough, but his eyes gave his words a cold weight that made me feel almost uncomfortable. But how was I supposed to just drop it?
By letting go of it and just watching it fall to the floor?
Oh, Jesus.
The core that Heisuke was talking about are meant to be pitied.
Okita-san's voice was flat, emotionless. His eyes were grim, and there was a sudden chill melancholy about him. I couldn't bring myself to say anything more. Thankfully, Nakakura-san stepped in to break the silence.
It's nothing you need to worry yourself about. You don't have to get yourself all worked up.
I was only a guest in their house, not a warrior of the Shinsengumi. I didn't need to know the truth behind whatever secrets the Shinsengumi kept. I known that from the beginning. That knowledge was little comfort, however.
Put it from your mind. Involving yourself in our affairs will only put you in greater danger.
I bit my lip and kept silent. The wall between us was almost a physical thing, and it was far too large an obstacle for me to defeat easily. I finished my dinner in sad silence, excused myself, and returned to my room. I had a great deal to think about. The Shinsengumi, huh? I knew of the Shinsengumi, of course. Their name meant Elite Volunteer Corps. But this corps they'd mentioned, it seemed to be something different. So Sanan-san is part of the Shinsengumi, but he shouldn't be part of the corps? The way they'd said it, it seems as if this corps was another entity inside the Shinsengumi. No, I wasn't supposed to think about those things. I was only going to get myself in trouble if I stuck my nose where it didn't belong. If I saw or heard the wrong thing, I could even end up dead. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. There were people who cared about me, and my death would no doubt sadden them. With that in mind, I did my best to put today's events out of my head and climbed onto my thin futon. Yawn. Oh no, it's July!
Yeah. Are you done, sir?
Fuck you, Okuta. Jesus Christ. It was later that day that Hichikata-san called for me. Excuse me. I'd been relieved to find Okuta-san and Heisuke-kun had been summoned along with me. A private conversation with only myself and Hichikata-san would have been cause for a significant case of nerves. I was still trying to puzzle out what to say when Hichikata-san began to speak, his voice cold as tempered steel.
You can leave the compound.
Really?
What?
Hair got in my mouth.
Oh no!
Yeah. The unlikely benefits of having a long hair!
Yeah.
His announcement was so sudden that I found I couldn't contain my enthusiasm. Hichikata-san, however, retained his composure.
You're going to be accompanying whoever's on duty. You jump when they say jump, and die when they say die. Are we clear?
At last, I would be able to go outside. I would finally be able to begin searching for my father. My answers wouldn't show themselves immediately, I knew, but at least I was free to look for them.
Soji, Heisuke, you're on patrol today, alright? Oh, I get it now. That's why you pulled us in here, right?
The confusion that had been on his face since I'd entered lifted at last.
I think it's going to be Soji's turn this time, though. The first division's doing rounds today, right? Isn't it? Yeah, Heisuke and the 8th are going out tonight, so I think he has a point. She'll be safer during the afternoon.
He nodded at Heisuke-kun and gave me a quick wink.
Don't forget, if you run, I'll kill you. And if we get jumped by Ronin, I'm not sticking around to pull your ass out of the fire, okay?
He wasn't being serious, but Hijikata-san turned his cold glare on Okita-san and frowned.
No, it's not okay, you idiot. What the hell? Why the hell do you think I'm sending her with you?
Okita-san's only response was a short snort of a laugh.
Kit!
I won't run. I knew he wasn't being serious, but I couldn't stand to keep my mouth shut. When I came here, we made a deal. I promised. The Shinsengumi would help me find my father, and I would keep quiet and not run away. And I still wanted to find him, just as much as I had the day I first met the Shinsengumi. I'll keep my promise. So please keep yours. I gave Okita-san a short bow, never taking my eyes off his face. The smirk that had been on his face when he'd begun had shrunk to something smaller and more than a little awkward.
My apologies. I guess I underestimated you. You should realize, though, that there's no way to know what could happen out there. If you come with us, you'll be putting yourself in danger. That's alright with you, then feel free to join us on our rounds.
Even I knew that Kyo was not safe. But I didn't care. I had to find my father. At that moment, any possible danger seemed immaterial.
The Choju have been acting up. We don't know what they are up to. The chances are it's bad for us. I'd rather not be sending you out.
Oops.
There is no data to load, just so you know.
Yep, I'm aware. He seemed to be almost talking to himself, but his tone was stern and thoughtful. The soldiers of the Choshu domain were part of the Imperial Nationalist Party. They had increasingly been turning to force in their pursuit of these goals. Blah blah blah. The Shinsengumi, on the other hand, were loyal to the Shogun. Since their masters were at odds, the Shinsengumi and the Choshu domain were enemies. It occurred to me that the increased activity of the Choshu domain had likely made it difficult for the Shinsengumi to shoulder a burden such as me. Why are you giving me permission to leave the compound at a time like this, then? Hijikata-san's face hardened and he looked away.
Kodo has gone. Kodo-san hasn't gone. Kodo Sensei hasn't gone back to Edo. We've heard that a couple of people saw someone around Kyo. It might not be him, but it matches his description. Besides, I've kept you locked up for almost half a year. The Choshu are a threat, but if it wasn't them, it'd be something else. I have to let you out sometime, or you'll never find anything.
It wasn't what I expected to hear from him. He was right that they'd postponed my search for my father for quite some time. What I hadn't expected was that he would give any thought to my feelings on the matter. Thank you very much. Drink!
Yep. Sir, are you that bored on the bus?
He's very bored on the bus. I bowed as I spoke, not sure what else I could do to express my gratitude. Hijikata-san only turned back to his work.
Besides, plenty of our guys aren't feeling so hot these days. We aren't exactly in top condition, are we?
Heisuke-kun's joking didn't seem to appeal to Hijikata-san, who only frowned more deeply. Well, it has been awfully hot lately. And it certainly had been.
Do your homework, sir!
Huh?
He said he's got a lot of homework to do, but he doesn't want to.
Jack, go do your homework. Go do your homework.
Don't make me get the hose!
Jesus Christ. Anyway, and it certainly had been. Day after day, the sun burned down on Kyo from a cloudless sky, and all of the rooms in the compound were so humid that I felt dizzy as soon as I stepped inside. I had heard that the heat had been too much for some of the Shinsengumi soldiers and had taken ill.
If you want to go, you can. You have my permission.
Alright. I sat there for a moment and considered my options. There was something in his words and demeanor that told me he didn't want me to leave the compound. Still, if I was with Okita-san, Ohesuke-kun, I had no doubt that I'd be safe and well protected. On the other hand, my presence could easily be an undue burden to them. What was I to do?
Leave and search for the father.
Leave and search for father? 1 second.
Yeah, you're leaving and searching for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Just
Whenever you come back, you have better done all of your own work, young man.
Yamasaki, please. Anyway, the answer is remain in the compound.
Oh, that's right. This isn't, this is Hanada's route.
What route did you mind think it was?
I'm sorry, I got caught up in the moment of her trying to leave.
What?
Oh, yes, freedom! And then, yeah.
Nope, remain in the compound. In the end, I decided not to leave. You know what we haven't done?
Huh.
Save.
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
Probably.
Because it's been, 2 hours.
I know, 2 hours. Do we want to continue?
Up to you. I'm just only along for the ride.
You're only here for the ride. Nothing more.
Yes.
Uh,
I have the wheel.
Alright, wheel. 30 minutes or no? What are my emotions? I forgot. Oh, right, I got the pissed emotion. And the loving emotion.
Yay.
And the oh fuck emotion. And
Hey.
and this. This. I gotta remember to have this for Soju.
Hey, we won!
What do you mean we won?
Kansas City won 27-24.
Congratulations. Congrats.
I believe we're going to the Super Bowl now.
Ooh.
Oh no, please don't do this again.
Did it really?
Yes.
The wheel is always indecisive.
Okay, this might be the last one. Really?
What?
It's doing it again.
I said the wheel is indecisive.
Another 30 minutes, another 30 minutes, call to stream. This is definitely the last one. Well, that's it for the stream, folks.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, settled on call to stream.
Just as the break pops up. That is
Yeah,
a
fantastic.
The wheel took too long because it knew it needed a last ad break. For some reason, it knew. So we're just gonna wait for the next ad break.
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm English all of a sudden.
I don't know either, love.
Eh. Wouldn't be because my brother's English, technically speaking.
I mean, I have English ancestry too, so.
Yeah, that's your case. That's not in my blood, I'm pretty sure.
No, you got some spicy blood in you.
Spicy blood. I'm spicy, apparently.
Got that hot Latina flair.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What up, bitches? Where my gilf at?
What?
Master Roshi.
Ah.
Just try to keep the house guests to a minimum. We just got rid of Yajirobe, and we barely have enough food to accommodate anyone. What up, bitches? Where my gilf at? Else.
Alright, so, the magical holy wheel has decided that we end stream here and now.
But don't worry, there'll be more shenanigans tomorrow night, but with SSL.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll fix the schedule. I'll, update what we're doing tomorrow and Thursday.
No afternoon stream either.
Yeah, no afternoon stream, just night stream, because we're on a new schedule. And,
Yeah.
I will pick the theme for Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if I'm doing Persona again. The Holy Wheel will decide everything.
The magical wheel.
The magical wheel.
It's the fucking cause from SpongeBob.
Yes.
So yeah, that's basically it. So, please drink water.
Have a good day and night.
Not to die because you didn't drink water. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hey.